I added ground textures to my minimalist flight game to help players with their landing approaches. While the feature was well received, some users with older machines mentioned the performance hit. Seeing as I want to run my game on any potato, optimizing performance for a laptop GPU from 2012 is an issue of the utmost importance. In this video, I'll go over my process of measuring and applying performance improvements in Godot. My first step is running the game on my older laptop using Steam. I use the overlay to pay attention to the resource usage and the FPS. I notice that the game runs generally well at 60 FPS, but sometimes it bottlenecks to 30 or even 15. I also notice that the CPU usage generally stays about 40% and there are no spikes, which means that this is likely not a scripting issue. I then go back to my main computer and I use Godot's visual profiler to identify what takes the most time when generating frames. My game has a lot of biomes with varying scenery, which causes different performance overhead. This makes it difficult to pinpoint exactly where performance problems could come from. To be consistent, I pick a single arbitrary spot where I do some benchmarks. Looking at the frame composition, I can see that I'm generally between 4.2 and 5.7 milliseconds. There are four elements that take the most time. Setup sky takes between 1.1 milliseconds and 2.2 milliseconds, often alternating each frame. Render opaque pass and 3D transparent pass both take 1.2 milliseconds. Render shadows is usually at 0.4 milliseconds, which is not a lot, but sometimes it spikes up to 2 milliseconds. These four elements take up 90% of the render time, and I now know what I have to target. Seeing that setup sky alternates between 1.1 and 2.2 milliseconds each frame, it has the most impact on performance, so I decide to deal with it first. I change the sky's process mode to real time, but this doesn't impact performance, so I then reduce the radians to 32 from 256. This drops setup sky to 0.45 milliseconds per frame, giving me 25% reduction in frame time. My next target is the 3D transparent pass. This is because I have a very terrible system for ground textures where I use the alpha channel to determine the strength of a second pass. I remove this alpha channel and I use dithering for distance fade. This drops the rendered 3D transparent pass to 0.6 milliseconds per frame, leading to additional 15% reduction in frame time. I now push the changes I've made so far to my older laptop and I give it a test run. Overall the game feels smoother, but I notice my frame rate dropping when I fly fast and close to the ground. I also have occasional performance drops, which I assume are tied to the shadows. I then spend some time tweaking the shadows. I end up using orthogonal mode with a fade start of 0 and a max distance of 500. This gives me a significant boost in frame speed, and by this point, my frames are already 1.5 milliseconds to 3 milliseconds. This is pretty much 2 times less than what I had at the start. I then reduce my second pass texture from 512 by 512 to 64 by 64, and I remove the normal map. This doesn't give me any measurable boost in frame times, but I feel like it will improve performance on older machines. I run the new version on my older laptop again. This time it's much smoother. While this update is not finished, as I want to add player settings for shadows and textures, I still want my low-spec players to get this version as quickly as possible, so I can have better experience. This is why I create a new branch on Steam, and I upload it there. Doing this also allows me to get some feedback and do some additional improvements. Within a day, I already have a positive comment, which means I'm working in the right direction. I still have some work to do. I will add shadow settings to my game, so players with more variance in performance can play it, and also add some texture settings, so you can maybe even disable them for even lower specs. Who knows, maybe I'll get some other ideas through time, but this is just my approach to tweaking performance, and I wanted to show you and maybe give you some ideas. Thanks for watching.